Hey, Tzorayim Tov, everybody. We're continuing in the Sefer Eshboch Lefonov Sichi. We're in the second chapter, and we're discussing why people do not do HISBODEDUS. And we're in the middle of this answer that says, because the Yetzer Hara doesn't want you to do it. Because he knows that if you have HISBODEDUS, you're going to be victorious. Okay, so that explains the unexplainable, why we do this, although it's not good for us. So let's continue. We're in the middle of that. Who's on page Samach Tes? Who's Yodeh ad kama otzum Rav Koach hazman bo adam yoshev v'shov v'chaslibo nochach b'nei Hashem. The Yetzer Hara knows how powerful this time is when a person pours his heart before Hashem. Like a child that is pleading before his father. I don't know, or like a servant who lifts his eyes to his master. Like a person speaking to his friends. So therefore, the Yetzer Hara will not want you to do this. Rabbi Nachman wanted to bequeath to us this conduct, this holy conduct. The conduct of the prophets and the early pious ones, which he calls Yekara Mina, called more precious than anything else, which he also calls the most apt means to acquire perfection. As he quotes, or the other commentaries, 14 times greater than learning. Therefore, it's so precious, so valuable for us to be doing HISBODEDUS. But that's why the Yetzer Hara does not want to do this. But not everybody, it comes so easy for them. Not everybody's got the tools, the wherewithal to stand at such a level. Therefore, the Rabbi says, so therefore, it's impossible to command people to conduct themselves 1 hour a day to do this. You cannot command things that is, very hard for people. So Rabbi Nachman is saying it's the best idea. It's wonderful. I really strongly recommend it. But he can't say, if you don't do HISBODEDUS, I'm not going to talk to you. I mean, not that far. There are those who have merited them, and there are those who are likely, and it's geared to them, such a behavior, such as for an hour he should go and urine, and prepare himself to speak and organize his heart in such a way. And then speak to Hashem for an hour. So those who it comes easy, those it doesn't come easy for. Okay, so now we've discussed a couple reasons why people don't do it. They're afraid to see their smallness. They're afraid to see their phony falseness. And the Yetzer Hara certainly doesn't want them to do it. Atzas HISBODEDUS, this advice of HISBODEDUS, if we would only see the words of the early rabbis, if had we not, we think we think we have nothing to do with it. Because it's a conduct that was prepared for prophets, the Perusha Kabonim, for the early ascetics. L'chasidim harishonim, for the early people, not for us. So you think, it's for big tzaddikim. So Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Sheratz Lavi Yosan al Tachlis, L'shama Nishlu Gamam, but Rabbi Nachman wants to bring us to the goal of why he was put into this world. He commanded us to have HISBODEDUS. Salalas Derechas Os Rabbi. He paved the way for the masses. So so everybody can reach that goal. Take for yourself 1 hour. But separate yourself from being with other people. From a place where people go. In a time when the world is slumbering and they're not running after with all their might for all the vanities of this world. Tamod levadim Hashem, stand alone with Hashem. Rakatovu, just you and him. Bad bavadi manu. Tiskashom b'chad kitra, bound with him with one knot. Next page. Page I. Bisman v'makam anala zeh, at this lofty time and place, tispalo tavakish tischane tanech al matzav agufa ocher shelcha. Pray, search, beseech, groan, sigh over your unpleasant situation of your body. Speak your whole heart before Hashem. Pour your heart with tears like water. Hashem, my creator, purify me. Tareinu noira, give me an awesome purity. Okay, he's just continuing with the poetry over here. So we're going to skip that poetry and move on to Perek Gimel. So that's the importance of this and why people are not engaged in this. That was chapter 2.
Okay, we're convinced. Let's go.
What? Now we're going to move on to chapter 3. Let me just get everything a little bit bigger. Hang on. Okay. Perek Gimel is called Ma'alos HISBODEDUS, the virtues of HISBODEDUS. And now he's going to do a lot of quoting of Rabbi Nachman. Some of this was hinted to in the introduction, but we're going to go through a large piece with Rabbi Nachman, and then the author will pick out 7 bullet points from it. So let's see if you could figure out some of the bullet points that are here. He's taking choice sections from the teachings of Rabbi Nachman on this concept of HISBODEDUS. We've done some of them in the Lost Princess series. Okay, we're now on page Ayin Aleph. Likutei Moharan Tanina, in the 2nd volume of Likutei Moharan, Torah Kuf, the 100th teaching, the Rebbe says the following. Siprali, he told me, Sha'amr, that he said, Shemei Katan Vad Gadol, from the smallest to the biggest. Yev Shalios Ish Kosher Ba'emes Kimadei HISBODEDUS. You can't truly be a kosher person unless you have HISBODEDUS. He mentioned many, many well-known tzaddikim. And he said, none of them reached their levels unless they had this HISBODEDUS. Okay, that's big people. He also, chose to pick a very simple person who was a grandchild or great-grandchild of Baal Shem Tov. He said, Gamzu, even this guy separates himself and speaks to God with big crying. He said, descendants of the Baal Shem Tov are very often doing this. Why? Because they descend from David. The Baal Shem Tov comes from David. The Yortzeites are one day apart on Shavuos. And what do we know about David? The whole piece of David was pouring his heart to Hashem. He broke his heart before Hashem often. Said Iker Sefer Tehillim, that's the main Tehillim that he founded, as we'll discuss another place. Now in Likutei Moharan, in another teaching, he says, and this is the longer piece, HISBODEDUS is the highest and biggest virtue of them all. To establish at the very least 1 hour or more. In any room or field. And to explain your words between you and Hashem with all kinds of points and excuses and words of charm and appeasement. To plead before Hashem, Shikarvo Allah, Lavoda, to bring him close to true service. A very important point now, he says. And this prayer and this speech should be in your own vernacular. So here he's talking to the people where he lives. The Loshan Ashkenaz in our country. Could be Yiddish, whatever your mama Loshan is. Not Loshan HaKodesh if that's not your mama Loshan. Why? It's very hard in Hebrew to really say all your feelings. And your heart's not going to go after words that aren't really you. You're not so accustomed to such a language. We're not used to speaking Hebrew. Remember, we speak Yiddish. It's easier to break your heart with a language you're familiar with. Because our hearts are drawn closer to this Yiddish, because you're used to it. And in this Yiddish language, you can explain all your words, everything that's on your heart, and speak it before Hashem. Whether it's whether it's regret and tshuva in the past, whether it's bakashas tachanuni liskos or whether it's a request or supplication to merit to get close to Hashem from now on in a true way. And similarly, any other issue according to that level. But again, he says, we have to be very accustomed. Every day, at the designated hour. And the rest of the day, you'll be with Simcha. Not to do this all day and become morose. And this conduct is a very big virtue. It's a very good piece of advice to get close to Hashem. That's an overall advice that incorporates everything. Because whatever you're lacking in your service to Hashem, you're very far complete from any of the service of Hashem. I'll call for everything that's on your mind. Explain what you have to say and make your request before Hashem. Even though many times your words are all sasum, plugged up. People and you can't say anything to Hashem. That's also good. Because you're already preparing, at least I'd like to speak to you, Hashem, even though I can't. If you want, just wanting to speak, you want to speak, I got nothing to say. Good, sit for an hour and say nothing. But I want to do that. That's also important. And you can make a discussion here just out of that. Out of that. You could cry out to Hashem just for that. You say, Hashem, look how far away I am from you. I can't even say words to plead. That's how far I am. I can't even open my mouth to you. Have mercy on me. We've opened up my mouth. That I can speak before you. It's not possible. There's nothing to say. If there's nothing to say, pray there's nothing to say. And beg him to give you what to say. You don't think he'll help you? He will. Vidan, you need to know. Should know many great tzaddikim who are well known, said they never got to this level unless they did this conduct. And a smart person will realize how virtuous this is. It goes higher and higher. This is equally applicable to anybody. Me cutting from the smallest agodol till the greatest. Everybody can do this. That way you can reach a high level. Fortune is that who merits that. Continues. It's all Rabbi Nachman. It's all quotes. Also make from your Torah a davening. Another big point. If you learn or heard any words of Torah from a real tzaddik, make a prayer out of it. You should request from Hashem to help that everything you learn should be fulfilled. When will I merit to be this way? The Rebbe talked about humility, and I know I'm not. Hashem, I'm davening that I should have this humility. And I know I'm so far away from this. And say, Hashem, please give me the merit that I should achieve what is mentioned in this essay. Hashem is a smart person who really wants, Hashem will lead you in the true path. He'll understand one thing from another, how to conduct himself in this. In a way that his words will be words of charm and proper comments. To have Hashem be appeased and want to bring him close. Especially when you take your Torah and make a prayer out of it. It makes great yearnings above. That's all from that piece of Rabbi Nachman. Okay, one more little piece. He says, the author is recapitulating some of these lines. HISBODEDUS said, HISBODEDUS is the highest level. Min hakol, from anything, from everything. This advice is greater than any other advice. That means all the 613 mitzvahs that the Zohar calls this all eitzos. Because the goal of everything is to purify the physicality of a person and remove him from this world. To save him from the Yetzirah. And to bring close to Hashem and to fulfill his will with a big heart. And why? And again, he's just repeating what we just said. This is the overall piece of advice, which includes everything, whatever you're missing in your service. It all can be spoken to. So now he's going to go over all the bullet points. And here they are. So this is, in a nutshell, everything we just read today. So you got 7 bullet points. That's what you got to take the notes on. Number 1, to communicate with Hashem alone in a room or the field. To be separated from people, to be alone with Hashem. Step 1. Step 2, and to speak your words out before Hashem with all the points, all the excuses, all the words of charm, words of favor, appeasement, everything in the book. Speak to Hashem. 3, Lavakesh, make a request. To supplicate for Hashem. Hashem, help me get close to you in your service. Dalit, es kol Hashem levavo, whatever's on your heart. Yasiach v'yisab, say it before Hashem. That is shvichas leiv kamayim, pouring in the heart like water. It's not holding back anything. It's gushing. Hey, lasok b'charota, be engaged in regret, v'loshev b'tshuva, and do tshuva. 6, to prepare yourself and to stand before Hashem. In a way that you want to speak to Hashem. You're excited to speak to Hashem. Even if you don't merit to say a word. The preparation itself is a good thing. And finally, number 7, Lasos mi Torah tefillah. Make from your learning a prayer. Klomer kol davar shalom. Everything you learn, you follow Talmud liskos l'kayim shalom. Pray always that you merit to fulfill that which you are learning. Those are the 7 main points in HISBODEDUS of what the Rebbe is saying in this piece of Torah. These are the cornerstones of HISBODEDUS. Okay, let's continue. He brings now from the Sicho Saran, that's brought from Rabbi Nosson. Shemati Bishmo, I heard in the Rebbe's name, He was speaking to one of the younger fellows. He was strengthening him a lot to do HISBODEDUS. That he should speak in the language of his normal language to speak to Hashem. And he said to him, he said, in the very beginning, that's what tefillah was. The Rambam writes in the beginning of Hilchos Tefillah, that's exactly what prayer was before the men of the Great Assembly came along. What do you think tefillah was? You just spoke to Hashem. Look over there, explains it well. That was the main, Rambam says that was the main tefillah. But then the men of the Great Assembly saw people don't know how to do it. It's hard for this and that. Okay, then they organized tefillah. I'll call upon him as Medina, according to the letter of the law. So this is the main tefillah. Now, it can't get you out of the other three tefillos. Unfortunately, we're obliged now with them. And people would say, well, listen, if I didn't have to spend an hour and a quarter every day davening, I'd have an hour to do this. You know what? You wouldn't. If we gave you dispensation, you don't have to daven. You know what's going to happen. I'll find that you're not going to do this. You could theorize, even if you would, you can't get out of the three tefillas. Sorry, we can't do that. Okay, you could say I don't have a lot of excitement out of it. Yeah. But you got to budget in your day. Okay, you're not going to start with an hour. We'll see. Start with a minute. Try 1 minute. Although that doesn't get you very far, but you got to get used to putting it into your day. But anyway, that's that really don't think this is you are fulfilling when you do HISBODEDUS, you are fulfilling the mitzvahs asay d'oraisa of tefillah.
Rabbi, I think the Rabbi had mentioned at one point and I'm not saying it should be limited to that. I'm going to expand it, but walking to shul on Shabbos is a time. So if one went for a walk, even if it was a 10-minute walk in the park or whatever, and tried to do it then rather than just trying to find 10 minutes, would that be effective?
That will start, but the real way is not to be walking around. You'll see. The real way is to be sitting and silencing yourself.
I guess we haven't got to that part yet.
When you're walking around, you got to be careful you don't stumble over anything.
Right.
You're not 100%. You are focused on the changing environment.
Maybe even sitting on a bench or something. I don't know. Just
sitting on a bench is better.
Yeah.
But we'll see. He's going to give that. But again, to start off, I'm saying we're starting at zero. Okay. So you're starting at zero. We got to start it as least painful as possible. So if you're walking to shul already, you could start doing it. It's not going to be optimal, but at least it's on your radar. Okay. Anything is better than nothing. Okay. Then we're going to work up to things. But we know we have the time. Everyone should just, in their mind, say how much time. I'm not talking about working on a computer. Work on a computer, you have to work. I understand that. How many times you go to the computer to just look at the news or look at other things, what's going on in Eretz Yisrael, all those things. How much time you spend on that, which really I'm not talking about looking on the internet to order something from eBay. I'm not talking about that either. I'm talking about just to know what's going on in the world. I'm not going to a trafe site or anything. If you would just drop that and just be misboded, that would already be plenty of time. That's that. If you want to look for where to do it, that's what you have to take it out of, because really, and in all truth, you're not losing anything. You really aren't. Yeah, but I want to know. What's going on in Eretz Yisrael. You don't need to know every day, right? So that's the way you can do this. Okay, so now continuing, after he said that is the tefillah d'oraisa. You have to know you're doing a mitzvah. This is not just an interesting technique in Yiddishkeit. I'm going to be relaxed. No, you're fulfilling a mitzvah, a say to oraisa when you do HISBODEDUS. Now, it doesn't excuse the rabbinic mitzvah of praying the formal prayer, but you should know you're not wasting your time. No matter what you say, if you mean what you're saying, you are fulfilling that mitzvah. So one thing's for sure, it's much better than being on the internet wasting your time. You can't compare the two. Oy vavoy, we're all going to get it one day. We go to Shemayim and Hashem will say, why didn't you do it? And one thing, guys, don't say I didn't have the time. Just don't say it. You're going to be embarrassed royally. Just say, Yetzer Hara was stronger than me. I'm such a puny garnished. Then guys say, so why are you such a big balgaiva? Okay, that's another story. Anyway, okay. Now that we do pray the formal prayer that the men of the Great Assembly told us to do, it's also good to be accustomed to praying your own prayers in a language that you know. To merit, Hashem should give you merit with real prayer. He said, Ikar HaTfilah, as we said, that's the main prayer. Okay. He says, look in another place, in many places of our words, how much you have to accustom yourself to this behavior. They said, that's how the second came there. Listen, we schedule in our day when we go to the internet. But believe me, we have a habit. I go, whatever. Some people do it during lunch. Some people do it during supper. Some people doing after exercise. Whatever it is, just switch it. Just got to get yourself used to it different. Got to train yourself in a different way of doing these things. Okay, now, in another sikha regarding the HISBODEDUS of Tefillah, and where you fulfill the Iker mitzvah of Tefillah, again, Likutei Maran, teaching Sadites. Omar, he said, HaMisboded vasicha beino levein kona v'shleimus. When a person is in solitude and speaking between him and himself, Hashem, completely, that he explains his words to Hashem so much, when he feels mamish, he's close to his whole soul leaving him. From all the yearnings after Hashem, your breath is taken away. As the Rabbi say in Taina Shamu, ain't a prayer of a person is not heard unless he puts his soul in his hand, which means you're almost ready to die. You feel like you're going to die. You're going to expire from all that feeling. So he's calling that tefillah. So what do you see from this? Midivra Torah, from this Torah over here, he explains that HISBODEDUS kolelas gamas chelik shel bitu ha'geguim v'ksium shalom l'shem yisparach. HISBODEDUS also incorporates the yearnings and the longings that you have for Hashem. When they come from your mouth, from potential to reality, from the hidden to the revealed, as he called nefesh yotzo bidvaro. His soul is exiting with his words. What does that mean to say? Hanefesh doesn't mean you're dying. It means hanefesh yotzas, the soul comes out. Umiskalas bidvara, and it's revealed in your words. That's what it means to say. That you want so much that mamish, I feel my soul is coming out. That's when you're speaking these words of yearning to Hashem. It's not of that feelings to Hashem. You've got to bring them out of your mouth, as was explained in other pieces of the Likutei Maran. It's not enough that I have feelings to you, Hashem. You got to say them. Okay, let's do a little bit more. I involve Likutei Maran in another teaching. Torah base. Torah ba gila Rabbeinu as in HISBODEDUS mavur shalidei HISBODEDUS shenasa balayla. Rabbi says it's supposed to do it at night. Michutz liyishuv, outside of the settlements. You can merit nullification. And then you can be incorporated in the one who brings reality there. How does that happen? You dive into Hashem and you search out until you merit to purify yourself from one bad midah. And then you continue to pray. And then you try to purify yourself from another midah ra. Until you eventually purify yourself from all the midos. You work out, you talk about one midah for as long as it takes till Hashem has helped you with that. And you worked on it. What is he saying? Klomer, HISBODEDUS tefillah Hashem yisparach b'makom mavudin me'anashim. He's explaining HISBODEDUS is a prayer to Hashem in a place that is secluded. Ubisman shenechshav bodei mervdivas, a place where he feels he's separated from the runnings around of the world, etc. Balayla at night. Why? Because he wants to get to the goal of the prayer, which is nullifying yourself and cleaving before Hashem. Until you hit a very high level, till you are incorporated in that who brings Metzius in the world, like the Rabbi says. Okay, we did a lot to chew on over here. So, Amir Hashem, we should all be socha to start thinking about a little of these points over here. All right, have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Sei gesund.